Hi everyone, it's Megan from the Gravenhurst Public Library. Today I'd like to share with you a brief introduction to Libby. Libby is a resource that allows you to download ebooks and e-audiobooks with a computer, tablet, or phone. Today we're going to learn how to use Libby with an iPad. To get started, go to the App Store on your iPad. From here, touch the search icon along the bottom right of your screen. Then, touch in the search box up here and your keyboard will come up. Now we're going to type in Libby, L-I-B-B-Y. There are two choices, Libby or Libby by Overdrive. They are the same. Either option will work. There we go. So we can see Libby's come up right here on my screen. Now it does say a little cloud for me because I've downloaded it before, but you might have something that looks like Get. Touch whatever one you have and start downloading the program. You may need to put your password in here depending on your settings. So once you've downloaded it, let's find it. As you can see, it's not here on my main screen, but if I flip over, there it is right there on my next screen. Now, if you have a lot of apps, it might be in a different spot for you. So an easy way to search is just pulling down on your screen. The little search box comes up and you're able to type in Libby there and it will open. So let's open it up. To get started, Libby's going to ask us some questions. The first is, do you have a library card? If you don't have a library card, I've added a link in the description of this video for the library's online form, but today we do have a card, so let's click yes. This screen asks if we'd like to copy from another device, which means that you could transfer your data, which is great if you're using Libby across multiple devices. It will transfer your books and your preferences. Next, we can search for a library, and finally, it will guess your library. Now, I'm going to skip guess your library because it always thinks I'm in Bracebridge, and I'm going to pick search for a library. I can start typing in Gravenhurst, and it will start to predict what I'm writing. So there it is, Gravenhurst. Now, we're part of the Ontario Library Service Consortium, which means that we share books with other Ontario libraries in order to bring more titles to everyone. Let's click on our library. Now it's giving me the choice to click on Gravenhurst Public Library, and that's the box where we're going to type our library card number. Now I'm going to click in that box and my keyboard jumps up and I'm going to click the little button down here to change it so I've got numbers along the top. Gravenhurst library card number is 14 digits. Everybody starts with 23382 and the last 4 digits there is actually the library's phone number. And the rest of the number is different, so 0, 0, 0. And there's my card number in. And then just click sign in. This is the main page of Libby. We are going to start looking at the bottom of the page, along the bottom here, and the first button is a magnifying glass. That magnifying glass lets you search for title, author, and subjects up here. We're going to hide that for right now. The next one looks like a little library card, and we're going to come back to that. The next one is Libby. We're going to come back to that one as well. The next one is a bookshelf, and finally a clock. The bookshelf lets you know exactly what you have checked out, as well as your holds. So I've got 2 books checked out today, and it looks like I have 3 holds. Now, the next one, the clock, shows your history, and it will tell you what you've checked out, returns, and holds, and this gets longer the more you read. So let's go back to Libby. Libby lets us know when we have notifications and gives help if needed. It opens up along the side. As you can see, it's asking us to manage our notifications, and there you can see you can change your library card number if you need, or there's help and support. Let's touch manage notifications, and it asks us on our iPad if we'd like to allow notifications, which means if you have a hold ready or a book that's about to expire, Libby will notify you. I'm going to allow. From here, there are other notifications that you can manage in the app. Right now, we've got everything turned on, but go in and play with them to find out what works best for you. You can always change them back if needed. Now let's hide that screen at the top there and continue back. This time, we're going to have a look at the library card button along the bottom here. This button is like the page back, or it brings you back to the main screen of Libby. So let's click on it. And here we are back at the Download Center. Libby likes to help us find books. At the top of the screen here, you can see different tags and categories that are featured. And you can also scroll down, and if you scroll down the page, you can look at curated categories that have been created. It's kind of like searching the shelves when you don't know exactly what you want to read. Let's go back up and have a look at preferences. There it is. Now, this allows you to change your search preferences. So format allows you to change between books, audiobooks, and magazines, or just leave it at any, so any of those formats will come up. Language allows you to change the language of the material you're looking for. Audience changes the age group that you're looking for. Support is more for e-readers that might not support specific formats. It's nothing to worry about when you're on your iPad. Availability. Availability lets you change the book to search for everything, which is helpful when you're looking for a specific author or title, or available now if you want to read something right now and are just wanting to search what is available. We're just going to leave it at everything today. And finally, sort by. Right now it's default, but you can go in and change any of these and it will change the way that your search sorts. So at the end, you're going to apply your preferences. And remember, you can always go back and change those if needed. Now it's time to check out a book. I'm going to go back to the top of the page and I'm going to click on Popular. Let's look at what came up for a minute before we find a book. The most popular book today seems to be Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I've placed this book on hold. I can tell that it's going to be over 6 months before I get it. Popular books often do have a longer wait because if you remember, we share these titles with a group of Ontario libraries. I can manage my hold, I can read a sample, and I can also see when I placed this item on hold. Let's click Manage Holds and see what that looks like. From here, you can suspend your hold or you can cancel your hold. Suspending hold is something you might do if you're going on vacation and don't want to miss the book after 6 months of waiting. You can suspend it from 1 day or all the way up to a month. You can also do this from your bookshelf, which is where this takes us back to. So if we click on shelf, we're going to head back to our shelf. Let's press the library card again to go back to popular books. So back at this page, I wanted to show you how to tell if a book is a book or an audiobook. So looking at the covers, we can see that this is a book, and then this one looks different. It's got the little earbuds underneath that indicates it's an audiobook. Now, with an audiobook, you can play a sample instead of read a sample. And this allows you to sample the narrator if that's something you'd like to do. Touching the cover of the book also opens it up so that we can read what it's about, and we can also scroll down the page to find out who the narrator is. And this one here is Barack Obama. So let's go back up to the top of that, and there we go. Now, we're going to go back to what's popular. As you can see, many of these books are available to place holds, which is usual in the popular books. But let's see if we can find one to borrow. Oh, there we go. We can do Untamed. So let's click on Borrow. Now, from here, we can see that pressing Borrow tells us the name of the book, how many days we can check it out for, and you can change that from 14 to 7 if you'd like, but usually people borrow for 14 days. We can also see our card. Now, right now, we have 4 out of 10 books checked out and 3 out of 10 holds. Let's borrow this book. From here, it takes a second to download, and remember that audiobooks take a little longer to download than books because they're a bigger file. And here we go. We're going to open the book. Now, from here, we can see the frame all the way around the book. This lets us control the way we read the book. It gives us a way to skip ahead along here. It also gives us a way to change the font, search for different things in the book, and it also has a spot for bookmarks and highlights if you choose to use it. Let's go to the first page of the book. So to go to the first page of the book, I'm just going to start pushing my finger across like I'm turning the page. And books often look like physical books. So you might find blank pages. You'll see all of the different chapters sometimes. There's a blank page. And then here we are at the first page. So once we get there, let's have a look at that font. Is it too big? Is it perfect? Is it too small? So let's change the font. So from here, we're going to touch the middle of our screen, kind of where the spine of the book would be. And then our frame for our choices comes back. I'm going to click on the A at the top here, which allows me to change my font. So my text scale. Now I can make it bigger. See how big that got? Or I can make it smaller. And you can do whatever you'd like to do there. Now you can also change the lighting. There's bright, which is what it's already on, sepia, which gives it kind of a warm glow, and then dark for the times you're reading in the night sometimes. So let's put it back on bright and leave the font where it is. Now to get out of this, I'm just going to click back on the book, and that takes me back to the book. Now let's click on the page again and start reading. So to flip the pages, I'm just sliding my finger across and they flip automatically like that. If we want to go back, we're going to, remember, click the middle of the book and then we can head back. And that's going to take us back to what's popular. Now from here, we could click on the card again along the bottom and that will take us back to this main page. But we can also see that the current book I'm reading, Untamed, showed up here along the bottom. But if you wanted to read something else that you had on your shelf, we can just go right back to our shelf, and that brings us to whatever we've got checked out. So right now we have all of these checked out. Now I did mention that the last item we were reading does show up along the bottom here. If you didn't want it to, you could click the X, but if you wanted to go back to that book, just click on it and it's going to take you back to the exact same spot we were just reading. Click the book again, it gets rid of the frame, and then you can continue to read. Now, if you were done reading, we click the middle of our book again and just click back here up at the top, and that takes us back to our shelf. If you wanted to start another book, you just click on the cover of the book and that opens it up. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to click on my middle of my book because that gets rid of my frame so I'm able to read. Now let's go back to our shelf. We're going to click the middle of the book again, go back, and we're back at our shelf. Now there are a few more things I would like to show you today. Let's say you're done reading for today. Let me just show you how to find your book again next time you're going to read. So I'm just going to close my app here and I'm going to force it closed. And then, oh, there it is. I found it on my screen. Let's click on Libby. And it opens up to my bookshelf because that's the last spot I was at. But if it opens up on this main screen, we know how to get back. All we're going to do is press the bookshelf again. We're going to click on the cover of whatever book I want to read. Last one I opened was the guest list, so I can open it here or I can open it here. Click in my middle, and then I'm ready to read. Now, something wonderful about Libby, I'm going to go back to my shelf, is that it will return your books automatically for you. There's no need to worry about overdues or returns, but you can return the item early if you are done with it, and that gives a chance of somebody else getting that notification that their book is ready. If you click on Manage Loan, you will see the loan choice pop up from here and you can return it early. You can also renew a loan, which only shows up if nobody else is waiting and 3 days before your loan is due. So let's return the book early. Looks like one person is waiting, and that will allow us to free up an extra spot. So right now I have 5 loans. When I return this, I'll only have 4. So we're going to return it. It tells me that I have returned it, and I'm going to go back to my shelf. And I can see that I still have books out, and I can go to my history, and I can see that I just returned that book, The Guest List. And I can also see that I borrowed Untamed today, and I borrowed Atomic Habits today. Thank you very much for joining me today to learn about Libby. If you have any questions, please contact us at the library. We are happy to help. I've put our contact information here up on the screen, and you can also find it in the description of the video. Have a great day and happy reading.